Welcome to Fearless and Focused. I'm Brooke.
And I'm Casey.
And we're here to share bold stories, real talk,
and strategies to help you push past fear and level up.
Let's get fearless and focused. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another amazing episode of Fearless and Focused. We are so excited today. We have an amazing guest, Whitney Bower, and Casey is going to give her bio in just a few minutes. But before we get started, if you do not have a pen and paper, go grab it because you are going to want notes. She is about to drop some major knowledge bombs on us that I think we could all use. We want to make sure we protect our brand and everything we work so hard for. And she is going to be talking us through all of that today. Welcome, Whitney. We're super excited that you're here.
So good to be here. I love you girls. And I am just excited for us to chat today.
Yes. So before I want to, properly introduce you and read your bio, but before, I feel like I just need to take a moment for the fashionista that you are. I'm always following your outfits. Like if I go to my branding shoot, it's like, okay, here's Whitney's page. Like I love her vibe. I love all the stuff that she wears, all of your poses. Like you're just like my fashion role model on Instagram. So thank you for that. And plus too, like adding fun and like a really cool vibe into something like Brooke and I know this too, like insurance. Sometimes that's a little dry and black and white. So I absolutely love how you show up online. So I just wanted to take a moment to honor that.
I love that. That means so much to me. It's funny because we joke about, and I joke about all the time about, I always have to only wear half an outfit because I'm only seen from the waist up. So some of the things I have on from the waist down are just diabolical. You just never know what it is.
Yeah, no, I just love everything about your brand. So let me properly introduce you. So Whitney is an intellectual property lawyer who concentrates on trademark law and serves small business owners and fearless founders all over the world. Her specialty is being the resident hype girl, which I love so much, for each client's business while protecting their brand and helping them scale. She infuses humor and all the serious parts of running a business because running your own empire should be filled with joy. Whitney is also launching a more DIY focused brand that helps entrepreneurs legally protect themselves as well as market and scale their brands, which is everything that I love talking about. So I'm so excited that you're here today.
Thank you. Thanks so much. I love what I do. I love the fact that I didn't go into this niche thinking that it would just be women that I work with, but it really is primarily women that I work with. Every now and again, there will be a male business owner that needs help, but I love the fact that I'm working with founders and I'm working with people that are doing things. There's always something going on. I swear every week I'm like, what? And I'm always amazed at the things that people have been able to scale to. I'm like, wait a minute, you make custom pot holders with personalized dogs painted on them, it's just the kind of thing. And then they'll be killing it because they've found their thing that they love to do. So I love those stories. But
awesome. Well, you like you said, you have this special niche. So kind of unpack that for us, because like when I first heard it, like intellectual property, trademarks, copyrights, patent, like it's a lot. It seems kind of overwhelming. And I'm like kind of new into this. So I'm like, talk us through like what all that means, like in the simplest of terms for all the listeners. Like, why do I need this? Like,
right.
Why do I need this? What is it exactly?
So I think over probably the last 10 or so years, our worlds business-wise have really changed in that we are all operating, whether you're serving a local client or not, you're operating on a more national and sometimes international scale. So for people that have podcasts or for people that have maybe a coaching business, really anybody, if you are using a national platform such as Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, if you're using a national platform to market who you are and what you do, I don't care what it is, you really have to start thinking about protecting your niche. And that could be any way that you're creating a line of revenue for yourself. So you might be in insurance, but you also might start generating revenue from your podcast. And so that's where when you create a brand, you're thinking about, how am I going to protect it? Because it's all national. We used to, the old the old days, we didn't have to think about it as much because your reach wasn't national. And
Right.
so that's why this is something that I talk about all the time. I talk to business owners every week. Just had, meetings all day yesterday about, I was talking with a girl that's a founder. She's run her business for about 5 years. And she was like, I wish I would have done this when I started. And so that's kind of my mission. Is the main thing I do is trademark. So I work with people that are developing a brand, meaning the primary component of their brand is their name usually, and then that brand identity. And so we just work to protect that via trademark, federally registered trademarks. There's a lot of confusion around that. And the reason, it's like, I always tell people, I'm like, it's not on you that you're confused about that. It's that the way we do business has changed. So the amount and the way that we protect ourselves has had to change. And that's kind of y'all's specialty, insurance. So this is kind of like insurance for your brand, really. I mean, if you think about it,
Yeah.
legal.
And when you say protecting, does it mean like you're protecting so someone can't take your name and your
Mhm.
business idea? Is that what you mean by protecting, or is there like some liability stuff?
Right. It's kind of a combination, I guess, of it could be a combination of the two, because you're kind of being offensive and defensive. I don't know anything about sports, but I do know that the basic components of offense and defense. But you're basically saying, hey, this thing is mine. I own this brand identity within this category or these categories, and it ensures that someone can't come in and duplicate it and do the same thing in the same market. And then you're saying, I'm able to say, if someone does that we can stop them from doing that. So if it's a product that somebody is creating, you can actually use your trademark to have custom stop products coming in that are counterfeit. But the same way for, like, if you're a health coach, you create a whole brand out of your health coaching business that includes a course or a podcast or a PDF. Creating that brand and protecting the name is the cornerstone of protecting your revenue there. So that's what it is. That trademark, that federal trademark, is what you use to stop people and to be able to actually legally stop people from being able to do the same thing that you're doing. So,
I know it's been a long time since, I started a business, because I started insurance, 17 years ago. And then, but like you said, like now, that has turned into many things. I'm doing coaching, Casey and I have the podcast. We have different businesses that are kind of spinning off. So, we're in a unique position. And I think many people are like, okay, as you develop these new businesses or new things that you're doing, like, how early should someone start thinking about trademarking? Like, we're branding this, like, do we have it all figured out yet? Like, we don't, we know the direction we're going, but is it a solid, when should we start looking into that?
I think such a fun thing for me has been to see the psychology behind this with women, in that we tend to underestimate ourselves, which drives me insane, because I can see when I meet with my, potential clients or with my clients, I'm encouraging what's going to happen in 5 years or 10 years, or maybe within the year. I want people to think that far out, because what's happening is that women, a lot of times what I've seen is they do the opposite. And I call it the farmer's market mentality. If you're going and you're creating a business that's product based or coaching or whatever, I want you to not think that, well, I'm just going to take my goods to the farmer's market and sell my lotions and potions, and it's going to be fine, and maybe something will happen. I want to teach. I spend all the time doing this, but teaching women to think, this product's going to be in Neiman Marcus, and what I need to do from the beginning so that there's not problems later. Just the same way with a coaching business or a podcast, or you want to think about, what is the best possible outcome, the biggest dream I can dream for what I'm doing, and protect it in that way. And I don't know what it is. Maybe I don't know if it's just in the way that, society has been, but men don't have a problem like going gusto and going all in, even if it's the lamest idea you've ever heard, and you're like, really? That's what but for some reason, women, we automatically estimate ourselves. And you're like, I mean, go in it like it's going to be the best thing ever and protect it that way. So that was a really long answer to say, I am encouraging more and more women, if they come to me and they're launching, we do what's called an ITU, intend to use, and this is going to be to market within the year. I want to go ahead and research. The first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you're not starting something that's going to get you sued. And it's so interesting how often I see that. Starting a store, a podcast, a this or that, where there is already a federal registration on that name. And the scary part is you could be building something that's amazing that you're going to have revenue from. And someone, if they own a registered trademark that is similar to that, or is exact or similar, they could come in and ask for your profits of everything you've made during the time. Let's say it's a retail. I'll just use a retail store for an example, because I have a couple of years ago had a case like this. The retail store operated for 10 years on a name that was, it was an infringement, right? Well, when they got threatened with a lawsuit, the threat was for the person that owned the trademark to come in and take that 10 years of that person's profits.
Oh my.
Right. And there's not a box you can check that says, I didn't know. I didn't know. It's not a defense. And so that's why I'm so vocal about what I do, because you shouldn't lose your profits and you shouldn't build a business on something that you can't scale. Like, you need to be able to own it and market it on socials. Like, that's how we're all marketing on socials these days. So that's the essence of what it is. It's owning it, but also preventing that letter when you're 5 years in, you start showing a certain amount of success with it. I'm not saying it even takes 5 years. It could take a year, but you start those profits start rolling in, and then you have to lift, shift, and completely rebrand when you've fallen in love with your brand as it is. So, like I said, I could talk all day about this because
Yeah, that's a lot to unpack. I'm just like, oh my gosh, we need to connect and talk.
Yes,
But you know
same.
what, I love what you just said though, because I'm coaching business owners this all the time. Like, the more you set your business up for success and that solid foundation, the more successful it's going to be, because it's just a mindset shift, right? It's not just, oh, let me just play with this. Like, if you're just, I'm going to just put this out there and on the side and see what it does. And like, that's the results you're going to get. But if you go in, it's like, I'm setting this foundation up, which I haven't included the trademarking, but now will be, and sending them to you. And just thinking, I loved how you said that. Like, you need to be, picturing this as like your
Start
stuff.
with the end in mind.
Yeah, is going to be a Neiman Marcus. Exactly. And
Yes.
and then the results are going to follow that, because your mindset is going to be like, okay, I'm here for it. This is going to be a Neiman Marcus. I protected everything. And then you're going to just dive in even more.
Mm-hmm. You're so right. And it's like, if your mindset is such that you don't want something to go viral because you don't want someone to see that you're using a name that's not protected, or you're even worse, you're using something similar to someone else's name. And so you can't not want it to be seen, right? Because that's what you guys do so well. You're so good at visibility, right? And so you can't not want the visibility and also at the same time want to grow. So that's the interesting component of that is that protection part, I think, and that's what you do. You do insurance, so you're protecting all the time. But that's the interesting part of it to me.
Talk to me about, in your bio, you mentioned something about like DIY focused brand. What all does that entail?
So when I work with people, one-on-one, obviously I take over, and it's very, I'm their lawyer for a year, 2 years. And sometimes there are people that are in certain businesses that it's more, I can create kind of a set way that we would protect that. Let's say like a photographer, or even if it's just a podcast, if that's like their sole focus. then I am creating templates and really mini courses on how, like, a photographer wants to protect the complete protection angles for, like, they need copyright registration, trademark registration, and then we go over the way that they need that. But I can do that more DIY for specific businesses, and so that's what the new company will do, and is super fun. And it's just a little bit more well, not a little bit, it's a complete different focus because it's not me representing them as their lawyer, but I'm teaching them how to do the protection themselves. So it's a lot of it's for people that have like a specific, set thing that are not multi-hyphenate, like you guys are broad, you've got a bunch of different things. So that's what that is. It's going to be super fun, and it's really my way of having better reach and being able to encourage people to protect from the beginning. Because what I'm seeing, what I get is I get the people that are in messes 5 years in, and that's a lot of times we can clean up those messes, but there's sometimes some heartache involved, whether that's a
Right.
brand or a lawsuit, there's some kind of heartache that spawned them coming to me. I've been working on the company for about a year, and it takes a long time because I'm a perfectionist like that. But I started it because I'm like, why are people not doing this from the beginning? And I think there's a lot of parts of it that are possibly cost prohibitive to have just a lawyer that's going to do everything for you. But there's a lot of parts it's a similar way that I would protect certain businesses throughout that line of business. So that's what that is. It's going to be fun, and it's bright, and it's happy, and I love the brand. Been working on the brand development. To me is so fun. Do you guys love that part? I feel like you would love that part. Like,
Oh, so love that part. And you know what I love about it? I was just talking with an agent yesterday because we're developing her brand, is that it's such a, especially for women, like a personal development journey. Because like a lot of the questions that I ask up front is like, okay, what are you passionate about? Like what motivates you? What makes you tick? And it's like, when's the last time that, you sat down as a mom and you're busy and all that and just wrote that out? We just don't. So it's like I love creating brands because they have to dig into that and like get to know themselves, and it's like this whole personal development journey that you get to go along with. So I absolutely love that part of it.
so when somebody with you guys, like, I know you have your own, brands, but then like you're usually with a certain, like an insurance carrier that you concentrate on, but then y'all develop your own brand too, right? Like that everything is umbrella under. Is that how it works in your industry?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, the corporation that or the carriers do a great job of like appealing to that corporate client. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's what like Brooke and I try to do is like, okay, let's bring out who you are though. So your personal brand can run along the side of that corporate one, and you're going to be able to build those relationships and put your name on everything, and really shine who you are and what your beliefs are and the different things that you're doing in the community. And the corporate side is so protected, like it has to be very black and white, but you bring your personal brand in, that's, you can build that into anything that you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like people do business with people that they like, right?
Mhm.
Not just blue signs or red signs or whatever, because we could all sell the same thing, but like we want to bring our own, personality, our own values, all of those things that make us who we are and make us different. So it,
Mhm.
it is huge for us. Like, you know, I don't have a whole lot of money like the big companies do. So I want to brand myself and not the big company. So I just put myself out there for them to see. And then that's how, like my social media journey has evolved so much because I'm like, why am I not out there doing more of that on the biggest platform on the planet? And I can reach so many other people, even outside of my state, because people move into the state all the time or refer people left and right. And I've seen this girl and she does funny videos and all of that. So it kind of brings me into like the social media piece that we wanted to talk about with you because you crush on social
Mhm.
media and you're so like you have this, you have a serious profession, kind of like insurance. It's serious, it's boring, and you make it so fun and so cool. So I kind of wanted to talk about that. Like, what made you decide to like, and just like having a serious profession, like I'm going to come at it like this, and you're still able to maintain I am an expert in my field and I am so fun too. Like, how did that all come about?
I think, well, the number one factor is that I'm a silly goose and I always, I'm just a silly.
I love it.
I think I think my job can be heavy. I'm dealing with, heavy things and I literally there are times where I'm retained to fight somebody, to get to start a fight with somebody, like a cease
I'm
and
fun until I'm not. Yeah.
right? Like a cease and desist is so mean, and it's actually for their own good, and it's fine. And like obviously, that's a big part of my job is serving that for infringement purposes. But I find the humor and stuff because there is a lot of just funny stuff that happens in life in general. I think we have to laugh at it, but I started really my practice really took off from socials because I knew I had to really do that because I reach people on a national level and I've a lot of people from other countries too. And every big opportunity, like a teaching opportunity or like a client opportunity, has really come from socials. It's not like every now and again, I'll, have a lunch or something where I'll meet somebody and I got connected to a professional sports team through a lunch last week, and that was pretty cool. But every now and again, I'll get a client that way. But most of mine have come from socials, from just being willing to be an idiot on the internet. And I think that's probably a difference from me and the traditional corporate lawyer is that I just I don't, my work is serious, but the other parts have to be fun or I would go insane. I mean, and I think, well, I always say authenticity is the highest frequency. And if you're not being authentic to who you are, then this is so boring if you're not. And that's the biggest thing that in my DMs, in my inbox, and with my clients, anytime I sign like several trademark deals with clients, they'll be like, well, I just liked you because I thought you were real. I'm like, I don't know any other way to be, I don't have any other way. And you guys are like that too, though. You're really real online. I think people are craving real and they're craving authenticity right now. And it just can't be as buttoned up as what we used to be because everything is serious. So we have to be able to laugh, like.
Yeah, that's such a good way to put it. And I love that you can clearly with your brand and everything you do, that shines through. So let's pivot just for a minute because this is going to be like so near and dear to everything that I'm about and Brooke's about. You are passionate about supporting women, and I love your forever hype girl. Absolutely love that. Fell in love with it the first time I seen it. So why is that so important to you, and how has that kind of been integrated into what you do?
I think it's important because I do like an initial consult and I meet a lot of women. I mean, we'll do consult, we'll visit, they're telling me about their dream, this thing that they've started. That's amazing. But what I noticed was a theme of people coming to me and they're doing this incredible thing. Like they've developed a product that's going to change people's lives and they are underselling the crap out of themselves. Like they undervalue, they undersell, they underprotect. And I'm like, I really started to look at why are we doing this? We're the most fabulous creatures, I mean, we can multitask. I asked my husband the other day, I was like, can you not make that steak while you're finishing your phone call? Because I was wanting him to do. He was like, no, I can only either talk on the phone or put the thing in them. And I chuckled to myself because that's not us. We could do 5 things at one time. I could do this podcast while rocking my little puppy if I need to, like, and I see it, but I get to see different iterations of it all, on my meeting days to where I'm like, well, wait a minute, you're making a new neck cream out of what? And I'm in awe, but they have done it for so long or been working on their project for so long, they don't see it. And so the biggest part of my job, like I was talking about earlier, is making women see that they are valuable enough to be protected. And I know that sounds so hokey, but I truly witness it to where I'm like, what do you mean this doesn't matter? I mean, they will have created this banger of a thing, a product, a program, or whatever. And they're like, I don't know what it's they're so unsure, and they have a masterpiece in their hands. And I'm like, I'm not unsure. This needs to, this is what you would need to do to protect it. And, I mean, not 100% of people that come to me are ripe for trademark protection, but we always want to lift and shift and get into the direction of what are, like, what are you building? What is the plan? And so many times it's something amazing, and they're underestimating themselves, and they're underselling what they're going to be putting out into the world. So that's where that comes from. It comes from genuinely seeing that theme really on. I really can't think of a time where somebody came to me and was like, yeah, I'm really amazing. And, I mean, that doesn't happen. But
Right.
then I'll have this person in front of me that's like creating art sculptures out of moss and floral, and I'm like, wait, how did you do that? And then these are all the ways we need to make sure somebody doesn't take that idea from you, because that's amazing. So I have to see the amazing in people. And then the fun part is making them go, oh, I guess it is that great,
Right.
There are every now and again, there'll be somebody that comes to me that I'm like, well, we just can't do it that way. It can't be protected if we do it that way. So then we look at shifting. And it's not that their idea is not great. It's just that we need to shift, the branding a bit. But
Yeah. I love that you say that. I mean, you can tell that you're passionate about it and like being that hype girl. And what I'm hearing you say, not only are you like giving them like really amazing, solid business advice and legal advice, but you're being that person that is telling them, girl, you're on fire. Like you've got it going on. Like I think that is so amazing because like you said, we tend to underestimate ourselves and don't have that confidence. And like you clearly have it and it shines through. And I think that's why so many people gravitate to you because not only you're smart, but you're relatable and you're approachable. And I love that you give that back to everyone you come in contact with. It's so amazing. Um, but my question is, had you always been that way? I've only known you as that way, but like, and I feel like I've come out of my shell a lot, but I wasn't always. Was there like a shift or like someone, or did you have someone tell you that, or did you just decide, I'm just going to be me and embrace it? What did that look like of you, like coming into this amazing, bold, beautiful woman that you are?
I feel like self-doubt is my middle name. Like we always doubt that's like the name of it. It's getting shedding that old programming that we're not enough. And I mean, I have to shed that programming every single day, because with my law practice, that is, I've been a lawyer for 23 years now and but I've done all different things, weird things. I was a photographer. When my little boy was little, I did different things to raise him because I couldn't, really raise him right if I was in an office all the time. So I've had to just overcome that, but that's a process every single day. I have to overcome it. And it's not even necessarily a fake it till you make it. It's really just a shift in one thing I was laughing about the other day with a friend. I said, the sooner you realize that nobody knows what they're doing, we're all just doing our best, and I think everybody has this thing that, oh, these two, they figured out podcasting and they know how to do this and they can launch this. And then I don't know what, nobody knows what they're doing. Some people choose to figure it out, and I think that's the difference is, with this company that I'm developing right now, I'm working with an amazing person that's building the web, and it's a pretty complicated site. I have no idea. I'm giving the information, but she's making it, into something that's viable. And we were laughing at a brunch the other day. Her and I were doing some planning, and she was like, I taught this to myself. I taught myself how to code. I taught myself how to do the web. I mean, she's incredible. She works with big hospitals and corporate brands. And I was like, are you serious? She was like, yeah, I went to college for a literature degree. And then I taught myself how to code. That is the essence of women right there. Like,
Wow.
I mean, that's what I've done with everything. And, obviously I went to law school, took the bar, did all that stuff. I did the technical stuff, but my trademark practice, I did not learn from law school. I just learn from diving into that area of the law. And I knew enough, to get around. And then I got good by practicing. Every lawyer does that. They get good by practicing in that area of the law. That's why when somebody asks me about divorces or anything else, I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know anything about it. I don't know about your child's custody. I don't know about divorce. I don't know about, I have a very, structured knowledge point and everything else is referred out. But yeah, nobody knows what they're doing. Don't you guys think that's it?
Oh,
Yeah.
that was a mic drop
Yeah.
moment. I was
Yes.
like, you nailed it. We're
You
all,
do.
we're all like, we're just trying to figure it out as we go.
Y'all probably had to do that with your business.
Totally. But as fearless women, like we're going to figure it out and we're going to learn as we go. And then guess what? We're going to like give it back to everybody else because we want everyone to, win and succeed.
A rising tide raises all ships. Is that what it is? And women are so good at that. We are really good at that. And I love that about, like, I see it within my practice because I want to use all my clients' stuff, the stuff they're launching and growing and all of that. And I do, but we're so good at that. It's just like me connecting with you girls. Like we just can gravitate and lift each other up, and it's really fun. And that's the part about what I do that I love, is that I get to just be a little cog in the wheel with people's brands, like, what is she going to do next? I love that, that stuff,
Yes. So good. You're like speaking to our souls.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a fun rapid fire few questions
Okay,
for you. Are you in?
I am in.
Okay. So first, suits are legally blonde.
Wait, suits. Oh, Legally Blonde.
Suits or Legally
Yeah.
Blonde.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Legally blonde.
Legally Blonde all the way. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a feeling that you were gonna
Yeah.
choose that. One thing you always pack in your purse.
oh, gloss. I always have to have a gloss,
Mhm.
a good
Uh,
gloss.
coffee order.
I do a caramel macchiato with as much whip as will possibly fit in the cup. I don't deny myself sugar.
Heels or sneakers.
Berks, but I with a suit jacket, and then if I go in public, I'll put the heel on. Like at home, it's a slipper or a Berk. But
You have
then
on shorts right now under your jacket. You probably.
I actually have jeans on today because it's being appropriate, but I have on my fuzzy Berks because this is the slipper right now.
Oh,
Oh, love it. Love it so much. Okay, one last one. The silliest legal myth you hear all the time.
The biggest one that I hear that I want everyone to stop doing is they think that they've created an LLC of a certain entity name, and that means that they own the name and that they can use the name freely. That is not true, and you can still very much get sued for that. So your LLC has nothing to do with whether you own the name or own the trademark. That's a state law thing. That doesn't mean you own the name. That's ideal. That's my biggest, like, if I could tell people one thing, that LLC is your entity formation so that your state can tax you. That's all that's for. That doesn't mean you own the name. I say it every day in my meetings. I'm like, yeah, you still don't own it.
good info. Good info to know for sure. Okay, so the name of our podcast is Fearless and Focused, and we love having guests on who've been fearless, who put themselves out there and not afraid to go for it. And we end with this question every time. So, Whitney, like, what does fearless mean to you personally?
I think fearless is starting, because there's a lot of people that have something in their brain that they're like, I want to start a podcast, but I want to, learn about whatever it is. I think that's the biggest thing. Start the process of, learn the thing. If you're a lawyer and you hate your job and you're like, that's a fun kind of law to do, learn about it, explore it. There is nothing worse than being stagnant. And so I think fearless just means starting. and it's going to feel like a free fall for the most part. There are times in my practice where I'm like, there's things that I don't love, but then there's days that I'm like, I cannot freaking believe that we just won that, because I didn't think that was going to happen. And that's cool. That's fun. I love that. That's fearless.
I love it. Starting. Exactly. Because everything you want is on the other side of fear. I firmly believe that. And you're never going to get to where you want to go. Like you said, if you're staying, you can be like fear, like what's going to happen, or you're going to fear of missing out the rest of your life. Like, which one do you want to be? Like, I would rather be like, okay, I could fall on my face, but I'm going to get up and I'm going to learn from that and not do that again. But well, thank you so much, Whitney, for being on today. Tell our viewers, our listeners, where they can find you, where they can connect with you, because you are someone, you want to connect with this lady. She is fun. She is smart. Like, she is all the things.
I love it. My primary social is on Instagram at the Whitney Bower. It's because there was another Whitney Bower and I had to deal with the word. Okay.
Well, you are the
Whitney Bower. That's where you'll see me be silly and also educate on trademarks and have fun and all that kind of stuff. And then my website is at whitneybower.com. We are actually rebuilding that right now just to add some things. But that's fun. And then my new company, I can say it on here. When do we launch? When does podcast launch? When does this one?
It is in, I want to say mid-April.
Okay. So the new company is called The Venture Capitalist, and that's theventurecapitalist.com. And I know that you're like, what is that name? And it's the essence of the company is that I was like, we're not capitalist, we're capitalist, because we're finding joy in doing our own thing is really what that's all about, because I'm working with these women that are doing their own thing and carving their own path. So theventurecapitalist.com will be launched by the end of April. That's exciting. Very exciting. I might not have any hair that's not gray left by then, but it's been a fun adventure. So yeah, whitneybower.com. If you want to look at stuff for trademark representation or do a consult or anything like that. But Instagram's where the fun stuff is. You guys know that.
Mm-hmm. We totally know that. And yeah, just thank you for joining us today and just like educating our listeners, and we appreciate you. And this relationship doesn't end here. Like, I feel like we're just going to be doing so many amazing things today. So thank you for being here. And to all of our listeners, make sure that you go out there and be fearless.
Thanks for tuning in to Fearless and Focused. Remember, success is not about being perfect. It's about showing up, staying bold, and taking action.
If you love this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who could use a little inspiration.
Keep chasing your dreams, staying fearless, and keeping your focus strong.
Until the next time, stay
fearless and focused.